Okay, so we're doing pretty well here. I just finished showing you another technique for pulling content out of the base layer, if you will, and isolating it onto its own layer. As you can see, I rearranged my screen here just a little bit just to make things a little bit clearer. We still have the slideshow and the 3 content boxes to go and a little bit more content down towards the bottom, and I'd like to try and finish things up in this exercise. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go and select that base layer inside the layers panel, and I now want to go after the slideshow. So let's run through our options. I could use my rectangular marquee tool using a fixed size. That's perfectly fine. Or I could use my rectangular marquee tool and just sort of haphazardly drag out a selection. And so long as the object that I want is enclosed or encompassed by that selection, then I'll be just fine. Here's another option for you to consider. Again, I'm just trying to throw different ideas at you here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my magic wand tool. So I'm going to tap my W key on my keyboard. That actually activates this guy here called the quick selection tool. But hidden underneath the quick selection tool, if I click and hold down with my mouse, we have the magic wand tool. Okay, so this is the guy that I'm going to go and grab. Okay. So I have my magic wand tool selected. All I'm going to do is just single click anywhere inside my slideshow container, inside the wireframe layout, and bang, there's the entire selection for me. Okay, perfect. Do you remember the keyboard shortcut to cut this guy onto his own layer? Command-Shift-J here on the Mac, or Control-Shift-J over on the Windows side. Okay, there he is right there inside layer 2. I'm going to go and rename that guy Slideshow. Perfect. Okay, great. So we should be able to finish this off without too much trouble. We have our 3 content boxes. Now what I'd like to do here with the 3 content boxes is I'd like to isolate them onto their own individual layers. So what I'll do here is I'll grab the base layer, grab the first content box there over on the left-hand side, Command-Shift-J or Control-Shift-J, and then rename the new layer. I'm just going to call this Content Box 1. Hopefully that'll work for you. And then back down to the base layer and repeat. Grab the center guy, Command-Shift-J on your keyboard, rename him Content Box 2. There we go. Don't forget to grab this base layer every single time. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you. Okay, so grab that guy. One more to go here. Go ahead and grab this guy. Third and final content box here, Command-Shift-J on your keyboard, Control-Shift-J, of course, on the Windows side, and go ahead and rename him Content Box 3. So as you can see, this goes pretty quick. It's basically a repetitious process here. The only other object that we have inside our wireframe layout that I want to go and isolate on his own layer is the footer. Okay, so in other words, this news feed, I'm going to leave him as he is, and I'm going to go after the footer. Okay, now for yourself, as far as the footer is concerned, you can use your magic wand tool, as I've done here. You can use your rectangular marquee tool, whatever works for you. And once again, Command-Shift-J or Control-Shift-J or layer new, and then new layer via cut if you want to go that route as well. Double click on this guy, and I'm going to call this guy footer. Okay, perfect. There we go. We have all of our main wireframe components now broken apart onto their own layers inside the layers panel. Again, because Photoshop is a layers-based graphics application. Now, just some finishing touches here before we move on, before we start applying design to all of these wireframe components. The last layer that we have here, layer 1, that's our news feed, right? That contains our news feed content. So I'm going to rename him to, you guessed it, news feed. How about that? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag him just above the footer layer, just like that, just to rearrange things a little bit. And then last but not least, I'm going to create a brand new blank layer and fill them with solid white so that we don't have this checkerboard pattern here in the background of our layout. This is, by the way, Photoshop's a way of indicating transparency. So there's nothing there inside this checkerboard pattern. So I'll fill him with white. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and create a brand new blank layer here down at the bottom of the layers panel. Okay. He gets added way up at the top of the list of the layers. I'm going to drag him all the way down to the bottom, just like this. And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to tap your D key on your keyboard, if you will, and then hold down Control or Command and hit Delete on your keyboard. That will fill the currently selected layer with the background color down at the bottom of the toolbox. So here inside Photoshop, we have foreground color and background color instead of fill color and stroke color as we saw in Illustrator. Great, good stuff. You can rename this guy if you want. I'm just going to call him background. How's that? Perfect. We can zoom out a little bit if you want to have a look at the overall layout. There we go, something like that. And of course, all of our main layout components are now isolated onto their own separate layers, so we can start applying design now to this wireframe layout.